averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons, change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons, changing right side tires.
Nestled in the West German mountains, there lies a track known only as the Green Hell. Luckily, in 1984, that track also built a Grand Prix circuit. That's where we are, and today, it's the Sox Out Racing V8 SuperTrucks Championship, live from the Nurburgring Grand Prix Strecke. My name is Cisco Scaramuza, alongside Jake Sperry to bring you all the action here for the iAnalyze V8 SuperTrucks Championship. And Jake, well, it's the Nürburgring. Luckily for these guys, they don't have to run the whole Nordschleife today because, well, that would be insane. Or, actually, we're running Mount Panorama later, so maybe not so much. But either way, the Grand Prix Strecke provides its own challenges, Jake, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys take to the track built in 1984.
It certainly is, and it's a very, very difficult circuit in places, even though it is modified and brought up to today's standards. You talk about the levels that you have to deal with in terms of elevation change, even on this Grand Prix tracker. You talk about the run down towards Dunlop and then back up the hill through some very, very technical sections of this circuit here today, Cisco. You talk about the run through the Schumacher S, and up there, it is very much going to be a race about who is the best at reapplying that throttle today, rather than who can hold the most speed through the corners.
Absolutely, Jake, and let's take a look at our driver championship to this point. And well, it's been a battle of the guys at the top between Bobby Zalenski and Victor Lobato. That being said, Bobby Zalenski's been able to pull out a little bit of a lead, and if Sven Kamertz can pull off a really good run today, he could take over that second spot from Victor Lobato.
He certainly can, and Victor Lobato not here today. That's a very, very crucial fact of the matter here today. So he will be dropping a few points in terms of this one, and that is going to be very crucial for Bobby Zalenski, who needs to get himself the best possible run here today.
You're absolutely right, Jake. And also, let's take a look at the team championship coming into today. Off-Camber Motorsports continues to lead that about a 30 or so, 28-point lead over Torque Freak Racing Corkscrew, and they've hold down that second spot. And then Peak Peckers, who's basically just turned into the Bobby Zalenski show, running third.
Yeah, and the Bobby Zalenski show has been doing very well. If he can basically almost on his own pull up as many points as, let's say, Torque Freak or Off-Camber can do, he's doing a very good job. But in terms of the racing that we've seen here, in terms of the championships for the constructors, it has been very much a game of chase. It's always flipped between one team and the next team and the next team, and I think there's still quite a few teams that have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, we look at the manufacturer championships. Road v Oval first, we'll take a look at that. Road currently leads right now, 700 points over the Oval drivers, 668, and that's kind of come down a little bit to a couple more Road drivers taking part and kind of putting the Oval guys a little bit of a disadvantage. And then the manufacturer championship, well, it's still deadlocked, 4 points separating Toyota and Chevrolet.
4 points between Toyota and Chevrolet. That's going to be absolutely fantastic to see how that ends up in the overall. But of course, Cisco, we are in qualifying. 10 minutes, 2 laps. Get yourself all sorted out and make sure that you get the best lap possible. Just looking at the driver who is first on circuit to set that lap time, it's going to be George Gruber, who gets a massive wiggle as he runs up to the modified BES form chicane here of NGK.
Yeah, NGK probably going to be one of the toughest corners here, but the drivers nonetheless saying it's going to be turn 13 because of how there's basically no room for error. If you get on the curb at all, Jake, you're going to go flying into the outside lane, and you could try it, but last year they tried and both trucks had to, or one truck had to toe to pit lane, the other one got destroyed, so I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it, but one of the advantages here today of having a short field, only 13 vehicles have decided to turn up, is the fact that those opportunities to go side by side, they are a little bit more limited, and there's a little bit more space than there would be, say, if there was a 30-car grid of trucks or a 45-car grid of trucks. You have breathing room, you have time to really work out where you are, how you battle, and where you can pick and place your next move.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. Couple drivers on board streaming this race. Blackadder Motorsports John Mertz, and all three of these guys on Twitch. Blackadder Motorsports John Mertz, Torque Freak Racing's Ram Rainers, and then Clan AOD's Kyle Streichars. All those guys, you can find links for that in chat. And for the most part, it's going to be a really interesting view, I think, from those three drivers. And you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, the elevation change. And it's something where there's a couple corners that maybe aren't necessarily blind, but you only have a couple seconds to really figure out where you're going to put that truck on the apex.
Yeah, you do. And the fact that you only have so long to get that truck here or there, it means that you are really playing the thinking man's race, as Bobby Zelensky has just gone 2.4 seconds up top for pole position. He has just decimated, but Kamet is going to be the big question point because he hasn't set a lap time yet. He was the fastest in this overall practice here in this session, not necessarily the practice that we had yesterday, so technically your free practice too, as it were, if this was Formula 1. But Sven Kamet now, he's got to respond to that 157.2. The gauntlet has been well and truly thrown. But as I said, it is the thinking man's track. You have to make sure that you deal with that elevation change, and especially on these very loose trucks, you have to be very careful about what the rear does when you do get that very, very big drop down the hills.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. And some programming notes for you guys. We do have a special announcement to make after the broadcast, so we encourage you to stay tuned all the way, and some exciting news for this series. And of course, we want to remind you that, well, the V8 SuperTrucks Championship is brought to you by iAnalyze Racing. And that software built to bring you basically all the telemetry you could possibly need. And you can get that today at iAnalyze.net. And I apparently have lost my ad read. So we will work to find that so I can do that more flowingly. Maybe, Jake, maybe you have it.
No, I don't have it either, but it's been a fantastic introduction here to iAnalyze and what it does. And it also links in very nicely with the Hard Chargers Award, because ultimately it's all about who makes those positions up through the field. Top three, they can't have it, they're too quick. But those drivers in the middle have something to fight for. If they make those positions and have that poor qualifying, get themselves up, there's a month, I repeat to you, a month of free iAnalyze software that they have available to them if they get the Hard Chargers Award.
We found it. The intern threw it away, and I had to dig it out of the trash. But iAnalyze, well, you mentioned it, every month subscription. We do want to remind everyone that once the race is over, to tweet at SocksOutRacing for the iAnalyze Hard Charger Award. As you mentioned, Jake, round 5, David Barraclough got that, so he got a free month of iAnalyze Racing software. And we'll, of course, have our pick towards the end of the broadcast, but we encourage everyone after the race, go there, tweet at SocksOutRacing for your pick for the Hard Charger. Remember, it can't be in the top 3.
Yeah, it can't be in the top 3, but now focus on the 66 of Kamet. Now drive to the line needs to be a good lap time. 157.6. Oh, it was good, but he's got one more lap, but he won't get around to finish it. So Sven Kamet, oh dear, it's only the front row, and everyone else pulling off. Their lap's done. Daniel Thompson then needs a lap time in the 14.
Yeah, Daniel Thompson, Christian Kilpatrick also on track at the moment, maybe trying to see if he can pull another lap out. He's going to have enough time to do it, but let's see what Thompson can do. Coming through the final corner, he was past NGK, now coming on to the start straight here. Pedal to the metal here. Can the 14, what's he going to put down? Well, he's going to blow the motor doing it. It was a 158.3, and Jake, he was digging because he blew the motor up as soon as he crossed the line.
Oh, he was, and he wasn't even across the line, so he maybe lost himself half a tenth in the fact that he did blow his engine up, but he was safe in the fact that he was 0.7 of a second behind Kamet, and the fact that he was 1.3 seconds clear of Jake Robson in 4th position. Not too bad, but I believe everyone who can set a lap time has.
So in that case, we'll just have to wait for everything to tick over, and from there, we'll launch into the starting grid. One thing to note, though, as we come into later on, After this, we're going to Watkins Glen Boot, Jake. Then after that, Motegi Grand Prix, and then round 9, which is Mount Panorama. And all those races from here on out not gonna have a drop week. So where you finish is where you end up, Jake. There's no drop in the race, and that's probably, for me, that would be most terrifying going into Mount Panorama, because it's Mount Panorama in a Camping World truck.
It is, and walls everywhere is always going to be a very, very scary process, but no drop weeks, more pressure. It gives some drivers a chance to shine.
Absolutely. We showed a little bit earlier on the prizes that these guys are running for. Of course, a lot of iRacing gift cards in that case, but nonetheless, we cued the music, so let's take a look at that starting grid. Bobby Zalenski got the pole of 157.29, and then to his outside is going to be Sven Kamertz, starting second in the 66 with a 157.64. Daniel Thompson's going to roll off third, fourth going to go to Jake Robson. George Gruber is going to start fifth, and sixth going to go to Christian Kilpatrick.
7th place will go to Bram Reniers, David Barraclough alongside on the 4th row. Row 5, Carl Streichart and Cameron Barry. Clifton Cockrell and Martin Kapal make 11th and 12th, and Josh Mertz rounds out a 13-car grid.
Absolutely, Jake. And let's head through and let's take a look at this track. And what we're going to be seeing is these guys make about a half a parade lap back to the start-finish line. We're sitting just before turn number 13. We mentioned that the Advan Bogan was going to be the trouble spot because of, well, these guys, they tried to make a move there last year and they fell off circuit, but there's no room for error, basically. The way these trucks are kitted out with aero, you mess up that apex, you're going straight into the gravel. There's plenty of runoff, but the moment you mess it up, you're going straight in there and you're losing time.
Yeah, you are, and the Advan Bogan is one of the most notoriously difficult corners on the circuit, and well, just getting yourself sorted in that section of the track is going to be something that every driver wants to make sure that they work out to the best of their abilities. You talk about the likes of Valvoline and Ford as well here today, Cisco. They are going to be two very crucial corners after the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Dunlop is going to be a prime overtaking opportunity, especially with the nature of it being quite cambered.
And also, just to keep in mind, Yokohama, the first corner in the actual track, that's also going to be, it's off camber. There's not really a whole lot of visibility. So if lap traffic starts to play a factor, these guys, it's not going to be a whole lot of fun. But now they make it up to the NGK chicane. This is also one of the toughest parts, probably just down to the curbing itself. If it was just the curbs, that would be what we'd have to worry about.
Yeah, it would. Rounding the final cornering. Oh, look, let's get some words out here. Cisco?
Trucks waiting for the green flag. They cross the line, and now we wait. When are we going to see it? Bobby Zalenski holding up the field. Welcome to round number 6 of the V8 SuperTruck Championship here on iRacing Live. Side by side as they head into turn 1. Zalenski has the lead for the moment. Kamert's going to try and make it work, but he's going to lose out that position, and he's going to fall to second place. Daniel Thompson, they're going to go single file all the way back to David Barraclough, where it's still a battle between the 208 and the 555. That's really the only battle. Everyone else single file for the most part. Mertz also trying to make it work on Clifton Cockrell.
Yes, they are, and well, it seems here, Cisco, too wide is the order of the day, which nobody seemingly wants to play with at the moment, but that is the nature of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Doesn't normally promote too wide racing, especially when you've got vast corners that are going at around about over 90 degrees in terms of action. 2 wheels up though for Jake Robson, and now checking up George Gruber behind him now. That's going to allow Kilpatrick and Barraclough back into the mix, then on the brakes into the right-hander, and to the inside of Kilpatrick goes Barraclough at Dunlop, and that might just be the position it will be.
A fantastic corner for Barraclough going through Dunlop, and now into the Michael Schumacher S's for Kilpatrick, and he's going to get the cut and does a great job of maintaining traction. Going to make that pass on David Barraclough, and now Barraclough under attack from Bram Reniers. He's going to look to the inside and maybe try for a little bit more. Not going to happen though on the 48, so they'll go single file. And meanwhile up front, well, once again we will return to your regularly scheduled program of, well, the Bobby Zalenski Show.
Yeah, the Bob Zelensky Show, undeterred, and is going to run for yet another round here and looking for maybe a new season as well if he has very well Kamets has been close, but again, a little wiggle coming out of that NGK is going to cause a lot of issues for him on that run through. But Kilpatrick still under pressure. Rainier's heavy to the inside at Coca-Cola, forces the man out wide. And well, thank you very much. Bram Rainiers will now have to stay though side by side. Couldn't kill off Kilpatrick, and Kilpatrick, well, he'll certainly get himself a very good run on the run to Yokohama.
Yeah, Rainier's really just, he's trying to make it work, and he's going to stay the inside into one. He's got to make sure he does lock it up. Don't do that, and they're both able to hold on to it. The 46, though, going to have the better line going into the 2, and Rainier's just cost himself that position with the lockup. A lot of moves early for the 208, but he's certainly trying to make it work, as now the 46 going to go a little bit wide. Rainier's trying to make it work.
Yeah, Rainier's really trying to make it work, get his socks out race, as it were, and now on the outside, heading towards Valvoline is always going to be difficult. He gets it done before they hit the corner. What a beautiful move that is from the driver of Bram Rainiers. He moves himself up into position number 6. Needed behind that, though, very wide from Carl Streichars. Streichars will have to give that one up from Kapal.
Problems early for the 28 of Josh Mertz. Looks like some issues. He's fallen back to pit road, and he'll be coming out on track later on. But the battle continues for David Baraclough down to the inside of the 46 of Christian Kilpatrick, and he'll make it work. Excellent pass for the moment, but he's got to make sure to make it single file. He does as they head through Schumacher, and Kilpatrick lost kind of 2 battles there, because he lost the battle with Rainiers as he gets very loose on those curbs, and now under attack from the 64 Kapal. That's all it took. No, Kapal's going to go loose.
Yes, and it's such a difficult corner there on that run into big curve left. And well, you have to feel that Kapal saw an opportunity, he went for it, but he just lost all forms of grip through the mid part of the corner. It snapped back on him, did that truck, and he's lucky that there is a lot of runoff area, because around the mid-90s, there was not runoff area there at all. It was heavy gravel. Straight on, though, goes Bram Rainiers. You'll have to take a slowdown because of it, and whoa, straight off goes David Baraclough, way too aggressive on the power.
Yeah, and he's going to go straight off and lose all that time that he'd been fighting for. So, well, for David Baraclough, he's all the way back, and unfortunately for him, just what was going to start to be a long day is going to be just a little bit longer now. He's going to make up all that time, and to put it in perspective, he was just in a McLaren just not that long ago in the 24 hours of Spa. He gets out of that into this car completely different, and yeah, he had time to practice and everything like that, but if he'd just gotten used to driving a McLaren for an extended endurance period of time, it's still going to be a little bit of a shock to your system driving that truck.
It certainly is. Certainly not as much grip, and it's certainly showing around this circuit here on this 20-lap race. Track conditions, 34, 18 in the air, partly cloudy, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for some of these drivers to really wrestle these trucks through certain corners, and every time they're heading in through a downhill section, I'm looking at Kilpatrick very, very closely, because every time I see him go down into full curve, there is at least 3 or 4 corrections on that truck to get that vehicle straight, and again into Dunlop. He is torturing the tires, and now Kapal wants a piece of it down the inside.
Yeah, side by side as they head up towards Schumacher once again. And it's going to be the 64 trying to make it work on the outside, trying to get the cutback. No, he's going to lose that position, gets a little bit loose, and as they come out of Schumacher, Kapal back to single file. And now that's the opportunity Baraclough was waiting for, down to the inside of Streichars. And as they make the left-hand turn, Streichars going to try and fight. He gets loose, and Baraclough has it.
Yeah, Baraclough will leave a lot of room on the outside. Streichars gets close, but it's going to be nothing that Baraclough needs to worry about. He brings himself back up then into position number 9, which he needed to do. But further in front of these battles, it has completely spaced out. Zelensky, Kamets, Thompson, Robson, and Gruber and Rainiers, you could argue, all have themselves about a 2-second buffer between every single one of them right now, and a huge wide from Kilpatrick gets the drift on, but he'll lose 1 position, he'll lose 2, and if he's not careful, maybe Streichars could make it a 3.
Yeah, and Streichars actually gave a little nudge, I believe, to the 555 of David Baraclough. You can see a little bit of right rear damage on that Toyota Tundra, and not going to affect it too much, but any sort of damage there messes with the aero package, messes with the handling of the truck, so just keep an eye out on that. And this battle has been an all-out battle royale for sure, as Kapal's going to get loose again. Not going to make it work, but he's going to stay on the inside, see if he can get the cut under Barraclough. Barraclough's going to have to go wide. He left a lot of bottom open, and now Capal on the outside trying to make it work. No, Barraclough's going to have it, and Capal gets loose.
Almost 3 wide as well, with Strike Shots trying to get involved. 3 turns into 2 as the track narrows in towards turn number 5 here of this long Valvoline corner. Down the hill heavy into towards the 6 of foot, and contact, and Strike Shots gives a big tap to Capal. Capal takes 1, and he almost takes 2 with him as Clifton Cockrell gets very, very lucky in that respect. They're all over it, 6s and 7s. They are working, and they're all working together. Replay.
Yeah, and I have no idea how Clifton was able to get through that without damage. Heads up driving by the 27. He was able to make it work and locked up the brakes doing so, but nonetheless, an excellent job done by the 27. Coming to start lap number 5 here, and Bobby Zelensky way out in front right now. There's a huge gap between the top 3. Bobby Zelensky currently leads Sven Gamers, who leads Daniel Thompson, Jake Robson, and even George Gruber. It's huge gaps through everyone up until that battle, and even that battle kind of has started to space out. The first battle we're really seeing is Martin Capal continuing to try and work on Cockrell.
Yeah, and for Capal and the hard charger, and there's a truck around there, Cisco, and it is going to be Jake Robson in the 44 who has a big moment, and it's coming out of that NGK, gets good over 1, good over 2, but he gets on the exit, and it is a high curb there on the exit of NGK, and he gets caught out and turned around.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Robson, he's going to lose all that time he was fighting for and falling all the way back behind these guys, behind Bram. So now he's gonna, the good thing is he didn't fall all the way long. He fell back into the clutches of Dave Barraclough. I guess the good thing for him is he doesn't have to worry about fighting 4 trucks so far, or at least not at the moment. So now he has to hold off Barraclough or try and pull away, and he does an excellent job of it heading into the Mercedes arena.
Yeah, he does, and coming out to the Mercedes-Benz arena, it's just a case of wait to put the power down, get yourself away, and Jake Robson was one of the quicker drivers here in the field, started in position number 4 overall, rounds himself then through Valvoline, and is now starting to stretch his legs compared to Barraclough, and Barraclough, he knows that he needs to be close to Robson in terms of pace. The 2 are naturally teammates, although they are on different manufacturer or different teams, shall we say, for this event, because there's 2 Torque Freak teams in play. It's about getting away from Kilpatrick, and that's what Barraclough's been doing well in his early stages, but the train now stacks behind Strike Shots, Cockrell and Capal, oh, he's angry there, shots at the back of Cockrell.
Yeah, and that's the 3rd time he's done that today. Strykars has making moves on these guys. I'm not sure what's really going on behind the mind of the 70, but either way, he's past Cockrell now, and Cockrell maybe taking a look to the inside or something. I'm not really sure how you take that, Jake, unless he said something to him over the radio, and I didn't hear anything. I'm not really sure what the 70's got in mind for the 27, because that was almost out of sheer aggression.
Maybe so, and he feels maybe that Capal is the quicker driver here and wants to try and make his way past the truck of Cockrell, but the issue is Cockrell is defending very, very well, and that is really going to hurt Capal, who was making some very good time, but now is seemingly stuck, and there's a big roadblock in the way in the form of Cockrell.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hard roadblock to get through considering what he's gone through so far. Martin Capal going to try and do everything he can to get past those guys, but he's got to get to them first. So as they head into turn number 1 again, Cockrell seemed to close up on the 70, just wasn't able to make the move, gets really loose coming out of the corner. The usual tail slide we see out of these Camping World trucks. Stryshar's going to go a little bit wide here as they head into the Mercedes arena once again.
Oh, and that's the inside. Cockrell has a look, but the door is firmly shut. It opens up again, but the nature of this 90-degree right-hander exiting makes it feel like so much more of a corner. Cockrell will have to stay behind, but he's now searching for a way through. And for Capal, he maybe wants to see Cockrell go through on Strike Shots, because that would be an easier challenge for him to get past Cockrell, rather than having to deal with Cockrell and Strike Shots tripping over each other right now. And now Capal will have a good run coming out of Ford, run down in towards Dunlop, has a little look, 1 down to the inside, thinks better of it. Cockrell has a look to the inside, thinks better of it. They're thinking, it's a thinking man's track. They are struggling. Look at the run on the exit for Capal though. He may have a half a chance.
Yeah, Capal right up to the back bumper of the 27. Now going to look a little bit to driver's left. Not going to happen. Maybe No, he's gonna lose a little bit of traction as they head into 11 here and into eventually Wernsteiner. And Kapal closing all the way up on the 27. Little bit of a nudge ever so slightly on the 27. Got very loose coming through 12 and now down to 13. You can make a pass down here, but you have to be perfect. And I think Kapal's going to wait it out. Maybe try and make it happen in an NGK.
Maybe he can here, and he's looking here in his truck. Thought better of it, though. Decided to break a little bit later into the one-line suits-all nature of this NGK. Maybe at Coca-Cola, send one deep. We've seen a couple of drivers try it here already in the early stages. Lap 7, they're looking to go on to right now. And Cisco, you have to feel that maybe pit stop strategy might come into play on the one-stop game.
Absolutely, one stop, and I mean the pit window is already technically open for these guys. They could have hit it at lap number 5. They're staying out a little bit. You want to get those good tires on. Oh yeah, it's gonna go side by side. We'll get back to strategy in a moment because we got a race in our hands. Kyle Streichhart's to the inside with the 27 to Cockrell, and he'll get loose. And Clifton Cockrell back out in front of the 70, and Streichhart's isn't done.
No, he's not, and he's going to try and open the door 3 wide. They may try, and Kapal now looking to just set the run up and get a stunning run off the exit. Strike shots was all over the place, and that's what I was saying a little bit earlier, Cisco, about 1 lap ago. The fact that Kapal can get around strike shots a little bit easier, but he wants to fight with Cockrell one-on-one, have a good scrap, rather than have everyone tripping over each other. I think that there was a little bit of unknown danger with strike shots there in terms of the battling.
Yeah, there was, and thunder cracking outside my house right now, so hopefully I still stay in the sim. Martin Kapal looking to maybe driver's right here as they come out of Dunlop. He's going to hit the curb a little bit, lose a little bit of time as they head into Schumacher S. And pit lane is open, being reminded by the race stewards here, so these guys have a chance to come down to pit road. They can short pit now if they want, Jake, but the problem is your tires are going to be roasted versus someone who waits a little bit longer.
Yes, and the more that you battle, the more that you seem to find yourself skidding the rears up. It's the more that you find yourself doing it again and again. Kapal getting almost synchronized there with Clifton Cockrell and the way that the rears were starting to step out. Now through Ad Van Bogen, runs NGK, and maybe a look to the inside, and you feel that maybe Kapal has got to do it a different way. In fact, he forces the man wide. Cockrell makes the mistake, and you know what? He just about got away with that one there, Cisco, because of the fact that he wasn't all 4 wheels off of the curb.
Yeah, and the 64 going to lose out that position again. I get the feeling Kapal's faster, but I don't get what the plan is for the 64. He's gotta make it work because the 27's defense has been absolutely fantastic. And no, it hasn't from that because the 64 just punted the 27 and now into the arena. Wow, Kapal made it work. I'm not sure Clifton Cockrell's going to be happy about it though.
Second time today that they've come together, and now Streichhardt wants a piece of the action. He gets a little drift then in the middle of the Mercedes-Benz arena. They have a little bit of a lean on each other, but they get themselves away. Streichhardt to the position of number 10. Now Cockrell has lost 2 for the price of 1, but trying to go around the outside of Valvoline, not always the easiest place to make it happen. Inside of Ford for Cockrell, and now Cockrell will get that better run coming off of the exit. Surely now it's clear. Want to keep our attention at the front of the field. Camex has not gone away. It's only 1.7.
It's starting to close, and I thought Bobby Zelensky would be out to the races today once he got a clean track, but maybe using up those tires ever so slightly, and it's allowing Kamertz to close in that gap. And keep in mind, this will be for the championship, and yep, Zelensky decides he's had enough of those tires. In comes the 83, and now the question is, Kamertz staying out on those old tires, how long does he do so until he hits pit road?
Yeah, that's the big question here, because Bobby Zelensky, it's very weird to see him struggling on his tyres in the early goings, and coming in this early means that he's got to go now 12 laps on the next set of tyres. Granted, he's going to have that fuel that's going to be a little bit lighter for him in this next stage of the race, but Cisco, you have to feel that Bobby Zelensky is proving to have a weakness here today, a weakness that not often gets exploited, and even then had to have a second little jump down onto his pit box because he was a little bit too far back.
Absolutely welcoming in the NASCAR fans who have had Indianapolis red flag. Thanks for joining us here at the Nurburgring, here for the Socks Out Racing, iAnalyze Racing.com V8 SuperTruck Championship. And looks like we're jumping around perhaps to the 83 is going to come off of pit road there, and the 46 just going to get past him here, but this is where we're going to see those new tires take effect here, Jake.
Yeah, we certainly will, and Zelensky has the inside, and there's not much really you can say for Kilpatrick. Round the outside he will try, but Zelensky has a much more punted truck compared to Kilpatrick. You will just slowly see him pull away, and it's the most agonizing feeling in racing when there's absolutely nothing you can do about an overtake, and see that go a lot further. A 13.8 second stop there for the driver of Bobby Zelensky. Eyes on Kamets then, as he needs to make himself possibly a 12-second stop here, or maybe just put in the lap of his life to get himself onto pit road. The undercut is certainly a thing.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be what it'll take to get Cameron to that lead. But now as they come into NGK, do you think he waits more than one lap, Jake, or does he come down immediately? No, he's gonna stay out again. No, he's gonna come down pit road, cross the zebras there, so Cameron's now in, and now get the stopwatches out, because this is where it's crucial.
Yeah, it certainly is crucial, and he was very much trying to deal with it. And actually, when he comes down to pit road, he is very, very close to the marker and braking quite a bit further from him. I'm just going to check what speed he was doing when he crossed the line. The answer is 75 kilometers an hour. I think he's safe on that one there, Cisco, because of the leniency that is there. Here nor there, 15-10%. I think it's somewhere there around those marks. But for Kamets, if he stays even longer, which I doubt he is, I think he may just be still in his fight. Zelensky rounds Coca-Cola.
Yep, and this is going to be the case. Let's see. Where is Kammert's going to come out versus Zelensky as he heads onto the front straightaway? Here comes Zelensky zooming past on the left side, but it's not going to be enough. Kammert's is there. Can Zelensky get the pass done? No, he can't. And Sven Kammert's takes over the lead with possibly better tires.
Better tires, yes. I think he's taken a little bit less fuel as well here in this stop. So you have to argue in terms of this one. Kamets doing a really good job of things. Now has himself back into the lead, and for Sven Kamets, he needs this for his championship. Zelensky has been all conquering, and now Kamets on the really, really big defense on the run to Valvoline. How late will Zelensky send it? Not very is the answer. He decides to wait for a better place for it to happen on the brakes. I'll tell you something else about Bobby Zelensky. This is a driver who does practice literally everything. We did see in Road Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, Cisco, driving a McLaren F1 for goodness sake.
Yeah, and 1.1 was the difference in the pit stop there, and that's what it took for Sven Kammert's to come out of pit road ahead of Bobby Zelensky. This is a battle not only between these guys for the race, but this will be the points battle coming out of today if these guys finish where they are.
Yeah, it certainly will. Victor Lobato not here. That's very crucial here in this battle between these two for the championship lead and for the race lead overall. And Zelensky, well, he can play the doctor's role, the Alain Prost role here today, Cisco, because he doesn't actually need to win this race. He could be very content just sitting in second place, just hoping that he can just finish this one very cleanly, go off, and maybe have a better chance at a different race for another race victory. It's a tactical man's game, but I think if you are a driver like Bobby Zelensky, you want to win every race that you start.
Yeah, absolutely, and the pit window starting to close on these guys. About 7 laps left in it or so until the pit window is completely closed for these guys. Still waiting on a couple drivers to hit pit road. Well, actually, most of the field. George Gruber doing it right now, and still waiting on most of the field. Christian Kilpatrick basically back through the rest of the field. Still has to hit pit road, and 2 drivers going to do so. The 46 and the 64, they're on pit road, as well as Daniel Thompson, who just left.
Yeah, Daniel Thompson just out of pit road. Same can be said for Josh Mertz, who is 1 lap down in this race. And actually, I was very interested in Christian Kilpatrick as he went down onto pit road, because he was very, very early down onto the commitment cones and things like that. And most of that comes down to the fact there are 5 or 6 different lines when you try and hit pit road here, Cisco. So the big issue is going to be, where is that cone? You look for a line. Not often do you look for the cone.
It's absolutely the case that they're actually going to be side by side coming off pit road, and they're going to try and maintain it. No, Kilpatrick going to surrender the position to Kapal there, so position change on pit road. That's a new one. But nonetheless, we flash back up to your lead battle right now, and surprise, surprise, Sven Kammert's starting to pull out that gap ever so slightly, Jake, as Zelensky Is he taking to that doctor's role, like you said? Is he just going to lay off, not roast the tires, and make sure he gets that second place position?
He may do, but then again, he might be trying to play a very different game as Kamet's all over that curb. That's going to open up the door then here for the driver of Bobby Zalenski, looking for the inside of Vorsteiner. That's not going to work. Maybe Ad Van Bogen get the run out of here into NGK. There was the first real mistake from Kamet. We don't often see him making mistakes, but there is the pressure that is being applied from Bobby Zalenski. You don't often have to make the move. Sometimes the move happens for you. And look at Zalenski's run out of NGK. And back it down onto pit road goes Kametz again. There's surely a penalty somewhere.
Wow. And to throw it all away for Kamertz on a penalty. Unfortunate for the driver of the 66, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And back down pit road, we'll have to see if it's a penalty. Waiting to see radio. Yep, penalty over radio communication from Sven Kamertz. Bobby Zalenski simply asked what happened. Pit road penalty for Kamertz. Unfortunate for the 66. That was a great battle we were seeing, and it just wasn't meant to be.
No, it wasn't. And Kamertz, you feel if he just didn't have that penalty, it may have been speeding off of pit road. If it's a 15-second hold, that's probably the reason why. And it is very easy to get yourself back up to pace. But look at these battles that is going on right now, because you've got the likes of Robson, Gruber, and Streichart all on the same piece of real estate. And I believe that Kyle Streichart is one of the only drivers not to come down in. He's someone who likes to leave it late here, Cisco.
Yeah, and Clifton Cockrell also is waiting to come down pit road. So you can see Streichart starting to struggle with those old tires, but we have a lull for the moment. So let's take a moment to run you through a quick rundown through the field, brought to you by iAnalyze Racing. iAnalyze Racing is the official data analysis software of the V8 SuperTrucks Championship and the premier iRacing aftermarket add-on. Tightly integrated with iRacing, iAnalyze Racing provides a comprehensive set of voice commands and data analysis to aid drivers in improving their on-track performance. Get it today at iAnalyzeRacing.com. And as those two go side by side, a quick run through your field. Bobby Zalenski continues to lead for the moment. Sven Kamertz has fallen back after that as they go side by side, still watching the battle with the 123, and Gruber's gonna get him there, and Streichart gonna lose 2 positions as Robson also gonna go by.
Yeah, Robson just picking off the bones like a vulture, and now looking to really go and attack Jörg Gruber. Arguably his teammate in this series not. That's a chance there into that big curb left-hander. That's not going to work for him here, so he's got to find a different way of making it happen. And actually, behind all of that, you've got the likes of, where is Kametz here? Kametz is now behind Barraclough in the battle for position at number 8 and on the circuit. So Kametz here has thrown away 5-6 positions on one small mistake.
And he needs all the points he can to gain on that gap to Zalenski here, and the battle continues between Gruber. Quick run through the field. Thompson is sitting second, Gruber sitting third. We're watching the battle between Gruber and Robson right now. That's for third. Jake Robson then sitting fourth. Fifth going to be Bram Reniers. Sixth going to go to Kyle Streichart, who finally makes his way onto pit road, so he's going to fall down the order here. David Barraclough is going to grab that position from him. Then Sven Kamertz is running 8th. Martin Capal 9th. 10th going to go to Christian Kilpatrick. 11th to Clifton Cockrell. Josh Mertz and Cameron Barry way down the order in 12th and 13th.
Yes, they are, and they have lost a few positions in terms of this race. Robson, though, really trying to get past Gruber through that Mercedes-Benz arena, and all over it is Gruber, who is way too aggressive into turn number 3. Leaves himself open for 4, but has the inside to defend. Won't get the best run out of the corner. Here comes Robson, using the better overspeed on the better exit. Had a look there into Valvoline, but thinks better of it there. It's a very, very picky corner at 130 k's. You've got to be careful when you get yourself down towards that hill. They are now allowing Bram Reniers back into play.
And you're watching that. I'm also watching the battle between Sven Kamertz and David Barraclough, not too far behind these guys. Those two going at it as Barraclough is going to get a little bit loose going through Ford. And we're going to be tabbing between these two battles. Jake, what's going on ahead?
What's going on ahead? Well, it's line astern a little bit more. Robson versus Gruber up to the Schumacher S. Left, then right and wide and into the gravel, and they check up there. Gruber didn't have too much to work with side by side. We're going to go in the words of Evan Pasoko. Not going to work, though. Down the inside, cut back, trying from the 44. That won't work.
Yeah, Robson not able to make it work. Meanwhile, coming into the same corner, Kamertz and Barraclough made a little bit of side-by-side contact. Kamertz going to fire it in there, and he's going to get alongside David Barraclough as they head out of the Schumacher S and it's going to make a little bit of contact. Kamertz is going to get shoved to the outside.
Up to the outside, but it's just not enough, it seems. Maybe a run through Advan Bogan, and he's right up onto the rear bumper. Maybe a look down to the inside. Force the authority. He does. He leaves him out to dry, and Barraclough's going to lose a second, if not more, out of that, and a big trail of 11s just to emphasize the point from Kamertz.
Yeah, Kamertz got absolutely on the throttle after that pass. That was a beautiful pass by the 66. Not quite clean, but he'll take it nonetheless. Meanwhile, flashback up. Gruber is continuing to hold that position on Jake Robson, and Bram Reniers not that far in the rearview mirror. So now the question is, if you're the 208, do you wait to see the mistake out of the guys in front of you?
I think you have to here, because your teammate's just in front, as the 44 Robson does go a little bit wide through that section, just struggling to get that power down and get the truck slowed down here on lap 14 out of 20. Not long to go in this event, and every point is crucial here. And here's a very interesting dynamic that you have to think of. Robson's got nothing to lose here. Maybe do you feel that he lets the position go for Bram Reniers to strengthen his role in the Hard Charger Award?
That could be the case, Jake. I'm certain Bram Reniers would certainly want to grab that. And I'm wondering, that's not a bad idea, Jake. Let's see what happens between those two. Bram Reniers continuing to stalk the 44 as it continues. Everyone else pretty spread out for the most part. Christian Kilpatrick, I just saw, was making a little bit of a tank slapper through Ford. And everyone else, for the most part, looks pretty composed. So now we keep an eye on that lead battle. Well, it wasn't a battle anymore, because Bobby Zalenski, well, we're back to the Bobby Zalenski show. 19 seconds on P2.
The man's a god. You just can't catch him at times. It's unfair at times with Bobby Zalenski and just how talented that man is. Leader in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, arguably the most premier sim racing series in the world. I mean, you can't argue against stats and talent like he has. 19 seconds on certain drives like Daniel Thompson. No slouch. Just brilliant.
Josh Mertz waving the 66 by him, and Mertz actually going to go in the dirt after that. So Mertz has not at all had the run he's wanted. A couple laps down already. So for Josh Mertz, he's just hoping the bleeding stops at some point. But battles continue. Dave Barclough just able to get past him as well. And looking through the field, yeah, the closest battle is going to be that battle between Robson and Gruber. Everyone else very spaced out, Jake.
Yeah, and there is a little case to be made that with that less field, that maybe there is less draft available for certain vehicles to play with. We do see a lot more spacing out in road courses than you normally would in oval courses, Cisco. So that's normally where we are going to see things like that. And Bram Reniers took a massive drift through turn number 1 there. And Bram Reniers, you know, he is pushing. He's pushing a bit too hard, though, is the Belgian driver.
Yeah, he is, and he's losing a bit of time because he's roasting those tires. And the person you don't want to get you is probably the guy trying to get every single point he could possibly get, and that's Sven Kamertz. And he's next if Brand gives up about 9 seconds back to him. So it's a pretty big gap, Jake. But if I'm Bram Reniers, I don't want to give it up anytime soon.
No, you don't. I feel it has to be a mistake. Oh my goodness, Gruber. Oh my word, Gruber getting so out of shape coming out of the Schumacher S. He was lucky because there were tyres on the grass, and he just managed to hold it all together without losing too much time, maybe a tenth and a half. Gruber's pushing here. Robson is really giving him a test.
Yeah, Robson, he's not on his back bumper. He's basically forcing Gruber to be perfect here, because if Gruber makes a mistake, Robson will be there and he'll be able to make the move. And Gruber, pretty good NGK for the moment. So right now, got to hold back on that truck. But can Robson close that gap? And, well, the case is going to be, can Robson get into that podium spot? But unfortunately, if he does that, he will be out of contention for that Hard Charger Award. And you can tweet at SoxOutRacing after this race for your choice for the Hard Charger Award. Just to note, Martin Capal, your biggest mover so far in the race, +3 positions, but a great fight by Bram Reniers. He's positive, so he's eligible. Sven Kamertz, so negative positions, he's not eligible.
No, he isn't, and the fact that he did qualify so high up in the field, it sort of leaves him out of a chance to get himself forward. But a big drift from Robson through turn number 3. He manages to hold it together, but once you start drifting, it seems the same part of the tyre gets caught on that drift again and again and again, and those tyres are screaming. They don't like it when they're hot.
No, they don't, and keep in mind, we're still kind of learning how the new lockup tire mechanics work on these Camping World trucks. That came to us in Season 3 in the build in iRacing, and that changed up how these tires, how they wear, and how, when you lock them up, how it wears them completely on the surface. It's very different as it was versus how it used to be, and it kind of gives the ability for flat spots to start to happen on those tires. So just keep in mind on these guys, the more they slide it, it's going to have a lot more of an effect on the tire than it did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it certainly will, and that's not what drivers are wanting. You talk about famous Nurburgring moments, you talk about Kimi Räikkönen and the tyre delaminating and blowing up on the final lap in the Grand Prix, giving Alonso the victory. You feel that for Jake Robson, it's a case of push, 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 but don't push too hard. In history, we know that tyres have that ability to explode. Here, though, it's going to be a case of the tyre's going to be heated up so much that it's practically not going to be a tyre anymore.
And it's because of the aero kits on these Camping World trucks, it's going to makes it that much harder to actually get around the circuit. You don't have a giant wing to be able to help you. You have, well, kind of a ducktail spoiler, and that's really not going to give you as much downforce as, let's say, a GT wing. And for these guys in the Camping World trucks, you got to take care of those tires if you're going to have any sort of grip. But Jake Robson continuing to try and close the gap. He does so in turn 1 down to the accordion. Just nothing there for him at the moment.
No, nothing there, and that is going to be something that is going to be hurting with just 4 laps to go. You've got to get close. You've got to find something here. Gruber's 2 minutes 5s versus 2 minute 4s. Robson, even with the big errors, as again he gets himself a massive little slide through turn number 3. It's the same corner for Robson. He's having this issue where he just can't hook up a Mercedes-Benz Arena, puts himself back, and then when he starts losing that draft, he has to do all that work to get back into play again. It stays at around 8/10, and it's all down to Robson's ability to take turn 3.
Yeah, and if Robson keeps losing time there, he's never going to be able to get to the driver of George Gruber, and he's running out of time to do so. When Zelensky crosses the line, it's going to be 3 laps to go. The time's ticking. Robson's got to get a move on here if he hopes to catch him.
Well, the good thing is there hasn't been a caution here today, and that will be...
Don't say it.
It has been very beneficial, but, you know, we went all green last time we were here. What's to say we can't go 2 for 2 on going green all the way from lights to flag? Robson needs to push against Gruber. Right now, Gruber is just doing everything that he needs to do, and a little bit more.
Yeah, he is. I just hope you didn't jinx it by saying that.
Well, you can hope.
We can hope, but either way, it looks to be clean and green for the moment, so let's just keep jinxing it. And right now, Bobby Zelensky, it doesn't matter for Bobby Zelensky. Yeah, that's a good point. Our race director, Paul Smith, pointing out, if the yellow came out now, it wouldn't matter, Jake, because the race would be over. So for Bobby Zelensky, he kind of wants the yellow now to fly, because then he could just cruise to victory in the 83.
An early night, easy way home to get a bit of champagne and a little bit more. Bobby Zelensky will be very happy with his efforts here with a 22-second advantage over the rest of the field. Want to keep an eye out, though, on this Sven Kamet's drive back through, because he is trying to pull it back. He's got it down to about 7 seconds, but with 3 laps to go, 7 seconds, that's not going to work. Keep an eye on Jake Robson here. Next corner is his drifting zone.
Yep, and we'll have to see, can the 44 manage it through there? Actually, it's going to be the driver in front of him that locks it up a little bit. Robson very good through 3, and look what happens. All of a sudden, Torque Freak versus Torque Freak. We could be seeing it here in the not-too-distant future. Robson closing the gap.
He is, and now he needs to push and just try and force the way through then on the driver of Jörg Gruber in towards Ford, and now looking to get the power down off of the hill and on the exit. And it's a great run from the 44, who will move to the inside at Dunlop, but the corner, the very small lip of the straight, always favours the driver on the outside. That's what helped Gruber through there, but now on the exit, forces a little bit of room here, does the 44, side by side for Schumacher.
Yeah, and Robson's going to be kind of at a disadvantage if he can hold it on. He gets a very good run through Schumacher, but loses that time. He was on the inside. Gruber back with the undercut as they head into the tricky 11 and 12 complex and into Vernsteiner here in 12. And Gruber going to hold on for the moment, but he's going to get very loose. Robson right on the back bumper. Do we see the pass in 13? No. Robson got a lot of gravel.
A lot of gravel, and that's not going to be helping those tyres get themselves back into play. Takes the wide line then on the run down in towards NGK. They all stack themselves up then through this very, very quick left-right, and it's a little bit of a break there onto it for the driver of Gruber. He was quick in and slow out. That's not how you do racing. It's slow in, fast out, which is the quickest way to get any vehicle around a circuit. And now for that driver of Jake Robson, he knows he's just got to sit and wait. 2 laps to go. Maybe at Yokohama, he's got an opportunity. Maybe he looks down for the brakes, but he's not able to make that happen. Now they're going to stack up like pancakes.
Yeah, they are going to stack up, and it's going to be 3 Torque Freak drivers here pretty soon. If these guys keep battling, Rainiers might be able to close up on these guys because he's not that far in the rearview mirror now, the 208. Different teams for these guys. Keep in mind, they can only have 2 guys to a team. So 2 Torque Freak teams potentially trying to go for championship points, but either way, it's a great day for the whole organization because they're all up fighting for that spot on the podium.
They are, and now to the inside, maybe Robson thinks about it, but it was only a thought there. Didn't have the ability to get alongside through Valvoline and into Ford. It's not going to work again. 2 to go, as we need to stress, as Bobby Zalenski holds a commanding lead at 24 seconds and keeps on extending it. But for Robson, he knows the top 3 is possible. Nothing to lose in terms of hard charger, and a big little drift there. A big little drift. It's a bit like Big Little Planet right now. Joe Gruber needs to use everything in his environment to his advantage.
Yeah, it is, and Jake Robson looking to see when he can make that move. Schumacher-esque that time, and Gruber got very loose going through there. Now Robson going to look to driver's right. Anything into 11 and maybe into Vernsteiner. Gruber going to get very loose, a little bit of a punt from the 44, and another punt. That's 2 so far. You knock once, knock twice. Will the 3rd hit be the charm?
Oh, and he's all over the place on the exit. I'm wondering if that has affected the rear suspension in any way, shape or form of Gruber. Seems fine through this next section. Keep an eye out on him for this final lap. He might be walking wounded here in terms of these next few corners. He is all over the curbs at NGK and all over the curbs on the exit. White flag is out in the air. Rounds the final corner of Coca-Cola, and Gruber is holding on for love nor money. Zalenski, though, he's clear and already at Valvoline.
Yeah, Zalenski just looking to close this battle out. We'll get to him here in a moment. Once he gets a little bit closer, we're going to stay with the battle with Gruber and Robson because this is going to go down to the end. He's going to lock it up going into turn 1. The 1, 2, 3's got to do everything he can to hold off the 44 here for 1 more lap.
And now into the right of 2, get a run for 3 potentially for Robson. This is his drift corner, the Tokyo corner. He sometimes likes to think about it, but he gets himself good with the Union Jack on his rear. Thinks about another shot to the bumper, but he's got to be careful of the 21 incident points here, Cisco, right now. And he is trying everything to get himself good. But Zalenski now heading to Vorsteiner.
Yeah, Vorsteiner here. Once he gets through a couple more corners, it's going to be night done for Bobby Zalenski. Cruise to victory here, a 26-second lead for the 83, and once he crosses the line, we'll look back to see where everyone else is. But Bobby Zalenski, a commanding performance. He's the NASCAR Pagani Free Series driver, and he's getting it done here at the ring. Final corner here for the 83 of Bobby Zalenski, and he'll bring home another trophy for the trophy case. It's orange, it's 83, and it's crossing the line right now. Bobby Zalenski wins at the Nurburgring for round number 6. Daniel Thompson has a great gap on the battle for third rather. Daniel Thompson, he'll have, I believe, a career best almost for that driver in the 14. A fantastic run. And meanwhile, the battle for third continues to rage on. The 44 and the 123. This will go to the end.
It certainly will, and now Robson thinking more do or die. Does he send one up at NGK? He can't. He's not got a chance. Now he's got to send one here at the final corner, and that is very much done if he gets a good chance. Wiggles, though, here for Gruber. Looks at it and throws the block. There's a shunt to the back bumper, and that's going to be end for Robson, who hits 21, and that's the limit gone, and that's 4th place dashed, and he will be so frustrated with that because he cost his team in the Constructors.
That is huge right there. We saw Robson playing it nice and easy, but he just went for it right at the end and hit the incident limit. Wow, that was fantastic, Jake, and we may get to talk to some of those guys after the race, but you saw Robson, and it's such a frustrating position the 44 was put in because he knew he couldn't even look at the 123 the wrong way, and unfortunately for him, it all ends in tears, as you say. Bram Renier is going to grab 4th place position, probably not too happy as his teammate in that 44.
Yeah, he has to be very unhappy there because at the end of the day, they have every right to fight against each other. They are on 2 different teams, Gruber and Robson. And for Robson, you know, he wanted that position. He tried to throw it to the inside, but it was very good defensive driving from Joe Gruber throughout the entirety of that second stint. You can't put a foot wrong there. The only issue was for Jake Robson. He had a couple of incidents early on. He had a couple of shots to the back bumper, which got him a couple of points. That really, really did hurt him come the end. And now it's going to be a very, very big shame.
Yeah, it is. David Baraclow and George Gruber, those 2 are teammates. Just keep in mind. So the other 2 Torque Freak drivers, those 2 are going to be teammates. So just a little bit of programming notes for you guys if you want to be knowing which guys are teammates, which ones aren't. But Bobby Zielinski got the win here. The Orange 83 makes it happen once again in the Sox Out Racing iAnalyze Racing.com V8 SuperTrucks Championship. Daniel Thompson, a great run for the 14. He'll finish 2nd. 3rd gonna go to George Gruber in the 123. Bram Reniers, he'll finish 4th, and Sven Kamertz will get 5th. And 6th is gonna go to David Baraclow.
7th for Martin Kapal, +5 overall then for the day. Very good job from him. Maybe a contender for hard charger. Christian Kilpatrick went only backwards, finishing in 8th. Clifton Cockrell, good run from him, getting himself up to 9th. Carl Streichart rounds out the top 10, and then vehicles laps down or failing to make the start. Jake Robson, who gets disqualified, Josh Mertz, and Cameron Barry.
Absolutely, and we want to remind you to tweet at Sox Out Racing for your choice of the hard charger here today. Guys eligible for that's going to be Bram Reniers, David Baraclow, Martin Kapal, Clifton Cockrell. All those guys eligible for the hard charger award. Jake, who you thinking?
I'm probably thinking Baraclow for the 2nd consecutive month because of the fact that he dropped back, made a mistake, and then had to work his way back up through the field. Baraclow had been very, very good at making a clean pass and a very successful pass at that.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with you. So RaceSpotTV's choice for the hard charger award going to be David Baraclow. Martin Kapal, your biggest mover, though, for up 4 positions, but tweet at Sox Out Racing for your choice for the hard charger award. That driver will receive a free month of iAnalyze Racing software. And as we head to break, let's find out, what is iAnalyze software?
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons, changing right side tires.
great look at what comes with the iAnalyze racing software, and of course another great look at Myrtle Beach, one of the newest tracks to come to iRacing, and you can see plenty of Myrtle Beach coming up on the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series coming to LSR TV in 2 weeks' time, the beginning of August. We're doing it like, well, just like a short track like you would see at home every week. Plenty of series running, and you can catch all of that on LSR TV coming up in 2 weeks' time. But we got some interviews, but before then, Jake, we do want to remind everyone, stay with us after interviews because we have a special announcement that we'll be able to bring to you guys after post-race interviews concerning a brand new sponsor for us here in the V8 SuperTrucks Championship. And that's then, this is now, and what a great race, Jake.
Oh, it was fantastic, even though it was a little bit formulaic at the front for Zelensky. He had his fair bit of worries here today. It could have been a whole lot worse for the driver of Bobby Zelensky. He may have actually had to have fought for that race victory, but penalties aside, it was still a very good battle, and there are a few drivers here today who will feel better or worse out of the Nurburgring.
Absolutely, and well, let's catch up with the guy who made it happen for another week. Bobby Zelensky in the 83 makes it happen. Well, it was almost kind of easy cruising for you there towards the end of it, Bobby, because, well, you had a 26-second lead on the field.
Yeah, at the end for sure, but it was about to be a big-time brawl there with Sven, but I guess he got speeding on exit, and it was crazy that he overcut me like that. He must have had like just the amazing pit entry, because I short pit on purpose because of my tire pressures just weren't working for long-run pace. So I pit early so I didn't get undercut, and then I got overcut. So I was like, well, we're going to have a big time brawl. But ended up, he got speeding, unfortunately. So, you know, that was kind of a bummer. But it's always, you know, we won the race. So that was the end goal. That's what we came to do.
Absolutely. And you may have to talk to the pit crew after one, because they didn't help you much either. I think it was about a second difference between the pit stops there. So you may have to go switching around personnel, maybe bring some of the peak guys onto the pit stops here for the truck. But we leave here, we head towards, well, a track we're a little more familiar with seeing. Not really, though, because it's Watkins Glen, and we don't really see the trucks head there. But nonetheless, Watkins Glen signs it up. What are you thinking as we head towards there?
Well, it's cool to go to Watkins Glen. It's a track I know pretty well. I know the boot pretty well too from doing, you know, some other types of racing, but you know, that should be fun. It's a track I'm familiar with. I believe we're still using the chicane, so it's pretty much, you know, the same track with some added corners. It should be a lot of fun.
Well, you started first and you finished first, Bobby. A great run in Q, a great run through the race, and you finish on top of the podium. Sponsors, shout-outs, who gets it done for you in the 83?
Yeah, shout out to everyone at Sockside Racing and put this on. All you at RaceSpot for putting on a pristine broadcast. Thanks to all the drivers that showed up today. Thank my sponsors, Virtual Racing School, United Western Industries, New Age Metal Finishing, and my team over on the peak side, Slip Angle Motorsports.
That's Bobby Zelensky, flag to flag here at the Nurburgring. Congratulations, Bobby, and, well, we'll see you in a month, but before then, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sure thing.
I believe Mr. Jake Sperry's caught up with the guy who ran second to Bobby Zelensky. A great run for this driver, and it's Daniel Thompson, a fantastic run.
Yes, Daniel Thompson with a very, very good run there as he gets the pleasantries in very early. Daniel, started position number 3. It seemed that it was all going to be very quiet for you today. Didn't really have anyone to battle with in the early goings, and from there it was just a case of lapping yourself around.
Yeah, I fell into a bubble pretty early and just had to keep it clean and had a pretty good race. I put in a lot of practice and raced here last season, and it paid off today.
Certainly did, and when you see on your Delta the likes of Sven Kametz falling back and you think that, oh look, it's going to be a personal best race here for me, when you get to the likes of maybe a circuit which has suited you quite a lot more than maybe some other circuits have, do you feel that you're going to try and make the most of this opportunity to get up into those podium positions a lot more often?
Definitely so. When I see a track like this, I'll put in the time and effort, and if I can keep my nose clean and stay out of trouble with some weird things happening, I can usually jump up there and surprise some people.
Certainly can, and of course the big jump in a month's time means that we're heading yet again on the road, and well, it seems that it's never ending here in terms of it, but although this light schedule certainly does have some benefits towards it, what are you thinking heading over towards the next round of the championship? Are you thinking that maybe when you look at your position in that championship of position 8 coming in, that maybe there's a top 5 available for you?
Yeah, I definitely see a top 5 available with some of the tracks coming up, Watkins Glen being one of my personal favorites, and also definitely have an appreciation for Bathurst. So I see that as an opportunity. I don't want to get too anxious though and too ambitious. Just if I can run some clean races, hit my marks, and do what I'm supposed to, I think I'll be in the running for it.
Well, he hopes to be in the running indeed. But of course, before we let you go, Daniel, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
Punta Clara Kitchen definitely gets it done for myself and my teammate, and Socks Out for putting all this together.
Awesome job. Daniel Thompson coming home in position number 2. But Cisco, you've caught up with a family of drivers. You've got about 4 of them that you're willing to have a little chat with.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring you down here as well, Jake, because we're gonna need all hands on deck for this. This'll be a first. Let's drag in all of the Torque Freak Racing organization at this point. We got Corkscrew and Sunset down here. Well, let's start in order. So, George, we'll start with you. You get the P3 with a fantastic battle with your teammate through the whole race. Talk us through it. Or not. And it all falls apart immediately. Well, who wants next?
How about second then?
All right, we'll go to you, Bram. In that case, you finished 4th. You were kind of watching that battle towards the end, and George working to get his stuff back together. But Bram, you were watching those guys towards the end of it, but you had a fight on your own as well.
Yeah, but at the start, I was messing everything up. I was having issues. But yeah, we had no contact, and we were able to continue with the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a fantastic race for you guys, and unfortunately, your teammate kind of got the short end of the stick there, but nonetheless, a great run for you. You finished 4th here, and you know, from it's a different case because we talk about you guys. I mean, you 4 are all teammates, but for the team championship, you're split up into 2 groups. So how does that change your driving style? How did the Sunset guys race the Corkscrew guys? Is it one big team organization, or is there a little bit of a competition between you two?
Oh, there is competition.
Oh,
yeah, we're not
even
giving
before
in.
I finish. Lol.
It can sometimes get quite confusing though, because I let through Bram on the first or the second lap, and then realized immediately that it was a mistake, and regretted it. So it can backfire.
Nonetheless, it was a fantastic showing for you, and Jake, I have to feel for you, bud, because it was such a great battle going to the end, and unfortunately, the incident cap didn't go your way.
Yeah, I guess it was unfortunate, but at the same time, I'm not overly bothered. It'll just go down as a drop week, so it's nothing major. Could have been some nice points, but at the same time, it's not a huge worry. I've had enough of incidents today after 24 hour, but you know, we'll have that.
Yeah, and I know I saw David at one point driving the McLaren for you guys, and you know, it's always, you guys have plenty of practice coming into today, but coming directly out of the McLaren into these trucks, what was the challenge for you guys doing that?
I guess there's more understeering these, but at the same time, McLaren's pretty bad on it anyway. Probably just power coming out of corners at slow speeds, so all the way through the horrible arena section. And out of some of the hairpins, it's pretty bad, but it's not massively different to adjust in a way, I guess.
Well, pass the mic. Go ahead.
I was just going to add that the curbs don't kill you nearly as badly in the truck as they do in the McLaren.
So curbs the name of the game then?
Yeah, the curbs. Yes, the curbs.
Well, Jake, I'll pass the mic to you, Sperry, and let you take over for a moment. Anything you want to add?
Well, it was a fantastic race, but, you know, when you look at these battles and you're 3, 4, 5 and you're all fighting it out against each other, you know, I'll come to you, Bram, on this. You know, what does become that mentality when you are looking at those scraps? You're thinking, yes, it is your teammate. Yes, it's not your teammate. You know, do drivers fall out and try and get back together again? Or is it a case of, you know, get over it, we're racing. Today, we're teammates in one part of it, but on another day, you know, we're not. We're fighting for it. We're sworn enemies, for example.
Yeah, it's like a competition, but you're always a little bit more careful with the other Torfreak Racing team. You might not be that aggressive. You can talk on TeamSpeak what you will do, and it's more respectful, if I should say it like that.
Yeah, certainly going to be a little bit more respectful. And for each one of you, Watkins Glen, a bit of a boot. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely a track we already know as a team, so it's going to be easier in this car, I think, because it comes up from time to time in the official racing. So, yeah, I think we're going to do good again.
And everyone else?
Is it the bus stop or the not? Well, not the bus stop, but if it's not, then that'd be even better. But yeah,
I believe it's the bus stop.
Some good drafting anyway, I guess, up the hill. But I imagine it could be quite tricky at the top of the hill, putting down the power.
Certainly can be around the circuit. So for the Talk Freak Sunset boys, they do a very good job getting some good results and maybe a few misdemeanors along the way. But Cisco, Watkins Glen, it brings two things into mind. It brings two drivers into mind. Michael Conti, Jake Sturgis.
Yeah, it does, and for me, it also brings two drivers into mind of a certain race between Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose. But before we let you guys at Torque Freak go, any sponsor shout-outs you guys want to say hi to anyone in the broadcast?
I think just to the rest of our guys, the management, all the guys that make the Torque Freak Racing organization work and give us these good results and stand behind everyone.
And to everyone at Socks Out for putting all of it on, and to Christian for the setups and stuff like that.
Well, there you have it. That's all of Torque Freak Racing, both Corkscrew and Sunset, guys. We appreciate bringing you guys in, and we'll see you in Watkins Glen here in about a month or so.
Yep. See ya.
Cheers.
Yep. See you later, guys.
And as we get them moved. And we'll start to move on ourselves, Jake. That was a new one.
It was a very, very clustered interview, and a lot of good guys at Talk Freak that all do a very good job. And moving along into the next races, it is going to be very crucial, especially without the drop weeks. But Cisco, shock horror, you've got an announcement.
Yeah, and it's Socks Out Racing is proud to announce that their newest partner, Virtual 2 Reality TV, is coming on board, and they're giving away 3 months of iRacing subscription for new members, and they want you to let you know how iRacing can fuel your racing goals and include the hashtags #V2RTV and the hashtag #GetMeIRacing for a chance to win a 3-month iRacing subscription courtesy of V2RTV and get your own Virtual 2 Reality journey underway. The winner will be announced in the Round 6 recap. But until we get to that point, we want to remind everyone, tweet #V2RTV and #GetMeIRacing. You'll want to take a look at that and maybe do that while you're tweeting at Socks Out Racing as well for your choice for the Hard Charger Award. Well, I think that starts to wrap things up here. So, Jake, why don't we cue the music and get on that plane? I got to get on a plane because I'm heading to Iowa tonight because we got some Indy Elite action happening.
Yeah, you got an express run through, and it's all going to happen over the next week as well. All the best races here, the likes of Monday Night Skippies. You talk about the likes of, say, the Skip Barber race series. You talk about the likes of even the iRacing Grand Prix series that happened today. That was absolutely brilliant. And Cisco, next week, that's heading back home again to Indiana.
Yeah, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But that's then, this is now, and we want to thank everyone who makes these broadcasts possible. The entire crew at Socks Out Racing, Nash Henry, Steve Burbage, and Christian Chalonier, everyone up there. Everyone at RaceSpotTV for Hugo Louise and Will Vincent on the admin team for that. And then, of course, for everyone in the broadcast booth for the drivers. And, of course, for Jake, that was Jake Sperry. My name is Cisco Scaramuza. And for Paul Smith, our race director, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in to the V8 SuperTruck Championship, the iAnalyze Racing V8 SuperTruck Championship. We'll see you soon.
averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons, change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo, 10-4, adding 5 gallons, changing right side tires.